The Miami Dolphins have made a trade sending Jaylen Waddle to the Denver Broncos. It's a very, very interesting move. So let's break it all down. So, the Miami Dolphins sending Jaylen Waddle to the Denver Broncos for a first-round pick, amongst some other things. And I think that this is a very, very interesting move here for both sides. But we'll begin with Denver. Admittedly, one of the things I was planning on doing today was a winners and losers of free agency so far, and Denver was in the losers category. They hadn't done anything despite being one of the final four teams in the NFL. They were a quarterback injury and even then a possession away from getting to the Super Bowl, and they did nada in the first parts of free agency. But this is a big splash. Jaylen Waddle would be a number one receiver on a lot of teams, and I think that team includes the Denver Broncos. So for a quarterback who I thought was having a little bit of an issue with maybe a slight step back from year one to year two. Still good. Obviously, they went to the AFC title game, but I didn't think that he was quite as effective as he was in his first year. Now you give him a guy who feels like he could break out into a number one receiver type of a role to go along with Courtland Sutton. That's a really good 1-2 punch that the Broncos can throw out there. And then you complement it with guys like Bryant and Mims and Franklin. This is a very, very good offense that they have surrounded Jaylen Waddle with. And this is the type of move that you make when you're going for it, when you were a possession away from the Super Bowl or an injury away from going to the Super Bowl or a snowstorm away from going to the Super Bowl. Although if you've followed along, you know I don't really take that one as seriously. But this is a major, major move for this team and one that I think was a smart one. Albeit a touch of an overpay, I think. 3 picks going the way of the Miami Dolphins, including a first rounder. But again, when you're this close, everyone's definition of overpay all of a sudden becomes just a little bit different than what the Broncos would be considering at this point. So for Miami, I think they do well with it in terms of the return. Getting the first, the third, and the fourth, I like this move for the Dolphins in terms of assets and all of those things and the gross ways that we can talk about humans in sports sometimes. But the thing that I don't like about it is this is not a great situation for Malik Willis to be going into, as he doesn't necessarily have the best weapons to work with in his first time as a number one quarterback now in the National Football League. So what are you expecting to get out of a guy that you just paid not a ton, especially in terms of quarterback pay, but if you're just going to surround a guy with no weapons and then, okay, well, maybe he turns into a number one, maybe he doesn't. I don't get why you don't just keep Tua around instead of taking that dead cap hit, see if there's one more thing out of him, but probably not, and then just go draft the quarterback, which is the way it looks for them anyway. So I don't necessarily know if the moves line up, but it certainly lines up for a team that's probably going to be looking to draft a quarterback in the next offseason. So I like it for the Dolphins. It just makes some of the other moves a little bit more questionable. But what did you think? Let me know in the comments, or let me know on social media. I am at Primetime Klein on Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. And of course, you can follow along with the show wherever you go. Just search Couch Potato Diary in podcast form on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.